Cradled in the eastern Himalayas, Assam, in the northeast of India, is a veritable salad bowl, tinged with the varied hues of diverse races and cultures. The various ethnic communities, despite hundreds of years of assimilation, still maintain their distinct identities and their individual ways of life. Each ethnic community's mores, institutions and technologies are sacrosanct and sufficient unto themselves, the inroads made by modernity notwithstanding. They have culturally and physically adapted to their environment. They are intellectually equipped to survive and live on earth in closer harmony with their environment. It is refreshing to find such a variety in a world which is becoming increasingly more uniform. And it is a sobering thought that it would be impossible to record such variety again, maybe even in another decade. This scene of community fishing is functional, ritualistic, and festive. Here, as elsewhere, we know that they are distinct, but not really separate. The bonhomie, ease, and gaiety have evolved and continued down the ages. There are more than 120 ethnic communities in the northeast of India, and they are spread over 70% of the total area. Almost all of them have a tradition of brewing and consuming homemade rice beer, commonly known as Lao-pani, though each community has its own name for the brew, and that is to be expected. After all, it occupies a central position in their culture, their rituals, festivities, and other social occasions. Beer seems to have been around forever. It enjoys a pride of seniority over other alcoholic beverages, and records of its production go back at least to the 7th millennium BC. It perhaps predates even bread, as ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian annals would have us believe. Some 20,000 varieties of beer are brewed in no less than 180 styles all over the world. Babylonian clay tablets show detailed recipes of beer making in the year 4300 BC. The Incas, Assyrians, and the ancient Chinese also brewed beer. A portable Sumerian tablet mentions beer as essential commodity in 2100 BC. Humans often seek supernatural sanction for some very profane acts. Almost all the ethnic communities have myths concerning the origin of the brew, and they are predominantly divine. The Tiwas believe that Mahadeva, or Lord Shiva, himself taught them how to make Jew. One of the Mundari-speaking peoples, the Ho, goes a step further, and according to their mythology, the creation of mankind is dependent on rice beer. The Tiwas belong to the greater Boro group linguistically and socially, and are settled in Nagaon, the southeastern part of Kamrup, and parts of North Lakhimpur and Karbi Anglong districts of Assam. Jew has a special place in the life world of the Tiwas. In their birth ritual or the naming ceremony, the newborn is named and fortified with its first taste of the brew. Folk knowledge makes room for the brew along with mother's milk. Jew figures prominently in their agricultural activities, beginning with the festive drinking in bamboo mugs as community ploughing starts and at harvest time. This ritual drinking ensures overall happiness and inspires them to work harder for a better future. Their resilience is astounding, for they had suffered a lot in the historical past. But they still maintain their distinct identity and culture and are marching ahead, taking all modern onslaughts in their stride. The Rabhas have all the Mongoloid physical attributes and still maintain their traditional animistic faith, having variously embraced Hinduism, Christianity, Shaktism, and Shaivism. Their rituals, ceremonies, and festivals and routine living still sustain the old belief and faith. Christianity and animism are curious mates, but they are compromises and mutual concessions. The Rabhas are divided into several groups, and each group has many exogamous clans, and there is a discerned movement from matriarchy to patriarchy. Most of the groups speak Assamese, but the Ramdangi group speaks what is known as Ramdangi Rabha. The Rabhas had traditionally married through negotiation only, and rice beer played a determining role here. Only when the bride's family accepts the rice beer carried by the groom's party can consent be forthcoming and details discussed. On a day fixed by mutual consent, it is the bride that goes to the groom's house with her kith and kin, where the wedding takes place. This has been the tradition with the royal Ahom, who were the unquestioned monarchs of the area since the 13th century. With the sacrifice of fowls and the offering of rice beer to the gods and the people assembled. With the ritual obeisance offered by the bride to the groom, their married life begins. Boro, as a generic term, comprises a number of ethnic groups in Assam. Speaking a Tibeto-Burman language and claiming a common mythical ancestry, they are the Boro Pisa, children of the Boro race. Besides the northeast of India, they are to be found in neighboring countries also. Once, rice beer had a centrality in many of the socio-religious occasions, as in Batho and Kerai. Batho, in which the hiju, Euphorbia spendensis, a sacred plant for the Boros, is used, symbolizes the 5 elements: earth, air, water, ether, and fire. Kerai is such another religious institution and stands for wishes and hope. This may be performed individually for the welfare of the family or collectively for the welfare of the community or the entire village folk. Kerai is performed before cultivation and after a good harvest. This is a song and dance ensemble where traditional musical instruments kham, dhol, kaobang, cymbal, sifuri, flute or pipe are played in unison for the Kerai dance to be performed. The Boros call their rice beer Jumai. It is the prerogative of the women folk to collect plants and herbs from nearby jungles. They mix it in the required proportion, pound it with rice, and make a kind of cake which they call bakhor, which literally means pearl, and is the yeast for the preparation of Jumai. The dried cake is mixed with boiled rice and kept in an earthen pot sealed with thatch for 4 to 5 days. Guests and kin are traditionally received with Jumai, and it is used in diverse socio-religious functions as well. Life, death, and marriage give a sobering uniformity to all aspirations of variety in the human cycle. But in the ultimate analysis, eschatological concerns reign supreme, even in contemporary conjugal initiations. The Boro perform their funerary rites on the 11th or the 13th day of death. A Deuri or Oja chants mantras and offers rice beer and other valuables to the departed soul, which are thrown into the river after the rites are over. The Deuris are a large and significant ethnic community of Assam. They are mostly an agrarian community of subsistence farmers. They have not only preserved but have persevered in their traditional costume and style, notwithstanding the passage of time, and their cultural heritage is truly unique. They worship primordial powers, which they call Kundi Mama. The powers are manifest in different forms. The various clans have different names for the power to be worshipped. The Dibongya have Gira Girasi, the Tengaponia Pisadema, while the Borgoya call what they worship Pesidema, which in popular parlance is called Kasai Kaiti. Changes or revolutions in attitudes and values, unlike political revolutions, proceed mostly below the surface of man's action. Cultural retentiveness is what makes history a complex, even tangled skein of thread. Their life world also gives a centrality to rice beer, be it the use in the daily grind or in rituals or festivals. Their process of fermentation is similar to that of other communities, and some herbs and plants also overlap, but to the discerning tongue, the flavors are distinct. The Karbis are believed to have entered Assam from Central Asia in one of the waves of migration, but the analyst or historian is forced to depend on folklore to determine the history of their settlement in the absence of archaeological evidence or written documents. The Karbis, like other ethnic communities of Assam, have persisting traditional institutions. While socio-economic and socio-political institutions have undergone changes and transformations, their religious institutions have proved more durable. In non-religious institutions, some new elements establish themselves sufficiently firmly to become part of the complex thread. When propitiating the various gods and goddesses for the well-being of the family or the village, the different rituals usually performed by the elderly males pray for security, especially against natural disasters, for health and a good harvest. In all these rituals, horlang, rice beer, flows free with sacrifices of fowls, goats or pigs. Such blood rituals, they believe, will protect them from all evils. Karbis follow about the same process as the other communities in the fermentation of their rice beer and use similar herbs and plants. They also have a tradition of distillation, and their arak is a potent drink indeed. The missing of the Brahmaputra Valley belongs to the Tibeto-Burman family and is believed to have been dwellers of the hills of present-day Arunachal Pradesh. Because of the affinity for riverbank, they are settled along the bank of the Brahmaputra and its tributaries. In Indian myth, the Brahmaputra is a male river. This accounts for at least 90% of them. They live in raised platform houses and keep pigs under the platform. Cattle, however, are kept separately in adjacent spaces. No such segregation applies to humans though. In missing society, hierarchy is alien. No one is considered big or small, rich or poor in status. According to them, all are equal and they share food and drinks with all. They live in close harmony with nature and had since time immemorial been trying to understand nature and know her ways. Consequently, all the ethnic communities retain discernible traces of the old animism. The missing, many of them, now follow Hinduism and the Bhokotia cult. They and their gods are fond of rice beer, which is prepared with great care and called Nogin Apung or simply Apung. They use at least 10 types of herbs and shrubs to prepare their apung mixed with rice. These are pounded together to a powder in a boat-shaped wooden grinder. They make a kind of cake which is then dried for a few days. Poro is another prize brew of the missing. They burn thatch and husks together and make ash. This is then mixed with fermented rice and kept for over a week. Then, the brew is filtered down with thatch and banana leaves. The process is continued several times till they get a clear poro. They underline the medicinal properties of the poro as it helps cure urinary infection and other ailments. Beer is never far from the festive field when the missing celebrate Ali Ai Ligang, a harvest festival in February. The missing have their unique folk music, dances and musical instruments. The Gumrag dance, connected with Ali Ai Ligang, includes continued movements in circle, traditionally accompanied by drums and cymbals. Different missing dances follow different structures with their own sets of rules. The Thai Ahom believe that Kunlung and Kunlai, while coming down from heaven to earth, brought the heavenly brew with them. No Ahom religious ceremony is complete without offering Luk Lao or Nam Lao to the various gods, goddesses, and ancestors. Lao-pani or Debroch, the divine elixir, as the Ahoms used to brew it in the historical past, had more than 100 species of plants and herbs. Now, obviously because of dwindling biodiversity, they make do with 30 to 40 species or even less. However, certain villages in eastern Assam grow and nurture some 40 species of exotic plants for the sole purpose of the preparation of the brew. The herbs and plants so meticulously collected are dried by the sun till they are easily breakable by hand. They are seized and then mixed with rice before being pounded in the traditional dheki, a husking pedal, till a fair powdery substance is produced. They add water to it and make them into cakes. Powder from old and preserved yeast cake is added to the new cakes for desired results. The process is only apparently simple. In reality, every step has to be judiciously followed. Each step is carefully monitored and rigorously examined. For instance, if the bakhor or yeast cake turns black during drying, it is often discarded, for the product would not come up to the required standard. It is these almost ritualistic methods which are instrumental in making the brew stand the test of time and becoming the abiding brew. They are dried in the sun or in the warmth of the platform shelf over the hearth till a whitish cake emerges. In Thai Ahom society, certain rules and customs are strictly adhered to till today in the entire process of the making of the brew. No unclean woman can ever be involved. In fact, all the ethnic communities of the northeast of India never regard rice beer as just an alcoholic beverage, but as a gift of God, offered and consumed in awe and faith for the welfare of the community. During the Ahom days, Lao-pani was the staple drink, and their beer production was a fine art. The varieties of substances and herbs used and added produced Lao-pani with varying nuances of taste and color. The entire process is elaborate, thoroughly hygienic, culturally determined, and demands mature skill and expertise. It is a thoroughly female bastion, and here, as elsewhere, the women folk are the custodian of culture, which is handed down, preserved, and persevered in. They have been drinking Lao-pani down the ages, and it is preserved by custom and sanctified by faith and rites. The people are healthy, robust, and active. There is no recorded death from Lao-pani drinking. Certain esoteric rituals are still performed in strict secrecy and exclusively where the brew is concerned. Pitor Hewa or Rati Hewa, meaning night worshipping or closeted worship, is one of them that still survives, albeit precariously. These are still preserved and practiced by a limited section of the Thai Ahoms who had ruled Assam for 600 years from the 13th century of the Christian era. These practices date back to days before their conversion to Hinduism, but commerce with the diverse forms of Hinduism has also left its mark on these esoteric rites. Divisions in the community apparent now are post-Hinduism. The Rati Hewa, performed at night inside a dhul ghor or secret chamber, smacks of tantric Shaivism, who take Lord Shiva as the presiding deity. This Shiva represents the all-pervading entity similar to the Brahmas of the Vedantas. The Rati Hewa or Bhitor Puja, as practiced by some section of the Ahoms, have telltale affinities with the Pancha Makara Sadhana, which is encountered in Hindu Tantrism or the Buddhist Brajayana cults. The cult of night worshipping considers their practice outside the purview of the four Vedas. The khas or rice beer they serve had been exclusively a preserve of the gods. Now that Lord Shiva has brought it down to earth, they can seek spiritual liberation, in one strict sense perhaps, through the drink long forbidden to humanity. Certain rites originally associated with Bhitor Puja parallel those of the Bhairavi Chakra at the higher stage, where the devotees renounce and discard everything, including their attire, as they are not assailed by the conventional sense of shame. The practice of offering fowls or roast pig, along with khas, is believed to have been introduced by the Mahantas of the Kalhongoti faction of post-Sankardeva Vaishnavism. The sect calls itself Kebol Dharma, where Kebol probably refers to Shiva as the supreme being. He is propitiated with roast meat and drink, and the devotees value it more as prasad than food. There evidently is a curious mix of tantric and Vaishnavite ways in the rites of the night worshipper. All the devotees sit in assembly with the Purna Bhakot, lighting an earthen lamp before him. The Purna Bhakot has attained perfection, having passed through all the spiritual stages as the central figure. The female devotees, who are called Dukani, or saleswomen, enter the secret chamber or dhulghar, singing hymns highlighting the names of Sunandadev and Ramdev, the first apostles of the cult. Vishnuization of Tantric Ratikwa cult at a later date took the form of Krishna Gopi cult, with different kinds of ceremonial dance, such as Phul Bihar, Gupi Bihar, Naga Bihar. These dances are performed by female devotees with plates in hand containing the offering. These songs had been handed down orally through the centuries. They are allegorical and cryptic, with a touch of mysticism. These female devotees address the Purna Bhakot as the Purna Swami, or the complete or total Lord, and pray to him to accept them as servants. The gopis or Radha, by carrying the roh or khas, which float down from Vaikuntha or the abode of Vishnu, offer it to the Purna Swami and pray to him to quench their mind's desires. Over and above the various stages in the rites and worship of the Ratikwa cult, there are also different ways. The usual rituals are Holita Logwa, Dangoria Hewa, and Bor Hewa, in which a select group of devotees relinquishes everything, including their apparels, before they begin worship with devotional songs and dances. Starting with the Purnoswami, all the chief devotees drink khas. Women devotees offer drink and meat to all the male bhagots or chosen devotees. This ritual is exclusive and is a secret ritual by definition and character, and has never been photographically recorded before. There is a marked uniformity in the selection of herbs and plants, and the process of fermentation is also similar in all the communities. The brew is at least as old as civilization, and its making and consumption are sacrosanct affairs. Inebriation may often be a consequence, but it is never the aim. It abides as the cultures which nurture it are abiding realities. The contexts change, but they do sustain the people, give them a set of values proved by time. They further enter into the construction of their identities. It is environmentally benign, which is what the contemporary endeavor, green chemistry, aspires to be.